What is up, guys? It's your boy GRC. We're coming at you live every single day, 11 a.m. Eastern. How is everybody doing? You know, for how bearish crypto is, the volume with some of these threads on Twitter, it's absolutely phenomenal. People really reading about these Uniswap, decentralized, SEC, all this stuff, man, bullish for crypto because it's all over the news. You know what I mean? Go to the gym, see what they're talking about, do exact opposite. Then you get rich. You know, it's always when they start talking about stuff, it inflates the market, people getting around. People are now talking about Donald Trump and SBF and how I'm like, are you kidding me? What a joke. The media is a joke, but that doesn't mean the media is not impactful. And the media has been crypto Twitter, Elon Musk, all of these big names losing money. Hey, Sam, what do rich dudes do when they lose a lot of money? They talk, man. They chat. All these NFL stars, NBA stars, they're playing sports all day and they just lost all their money in FTX. That is going to get lawyers involved, people involved, media involved. And they might not make their money back, but they'll probably make more on the publicity. And that's kind of the angle people play nowadays, because between the lawyer fees and the 6 years you got to have them, you ain't making jackass, literally. So what's the scoop on the Hedron dip? Well, we'll get into all that. Hey, Sam, let's talk about the market for the first 10 or 20 minutes. Guys, if you have questions about Zen, I know so many people ask me what my Zen game theory was. So we'll definitely be getting into that. Hedron, Hex 3. Richard Hart had Hex on its back at 3 cents forever. We're hitting those 2.6, 2.7 levels. No big deal right now. Sam, I want to check out the liquidity charts on those really bad. So I want Sam to pull up the Hedron, Hex, and like maybe 2 others we'll pick. And we'll look at those V3 liquidity charts that Sam's so good at looking at. Because right now, Sam, let's not beat around the bush. Things are moving around, right? And people are saying, hey, there's huge liquidity behind that 2.5 wall. And I said, you said that at 3.3, right? So guys, it's critical. I can't wait to talk to Sam about all this stuff. We have some Uniswap information we might touch on. Not super talking about controversial stuff right now is kind of like blah, because it was just going so hard. Let's get into the details. Let's get in position to learn crypto in the morning every single day, guys, 11 a.m. Eastern. Let's go.
You already know what time it is. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. 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 Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Smoking a blunt on my way to the gym. 11 a.m. and I'm already tuned in. Got me some hacks and I'm making a stake. Got me some heads on, I'm making it rain. Pay me some maxi and that's just in case. Jim Reddit sent me to show you the way. Crypto in the morning. 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 Crypto in the morning.
Yo, what's good, bro? Good to see you. Mike just fell off the desk, so can you guys hear me good? I just got it all hooked back up, so hopefully.
I think it sounds wonderful.
You want to say hi? Whoops, to Dr. Vray, the diamond.
Dude, Dr. V. Ray sends me 11 paragraphs and like, oh my God, dude, this dude's insane. He's got whatever I got. How's it, Jedi Master GRC? Support all the way from the doctor with the best smile in crypto. That's Dr. V Ray. Me and him trying to hook up on a phone call, just about winning a 0.05% on the BNB pot, because that's not easy to do to get us on the same. But I want to, and I want to talk. But dude, I can't read the paragraphs are too long. I need to talk on the phone because there's too many details that I would ask questions about. So let's talk on the phone. GRC looking clean today. Thank you for the super chat, by the way. Zen is great. Retested the previous low, confirmed the support. Zen is getting stronger against BTC and Ethereum and Hex and Hedron. A lot of different things it's getting stronger than. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. Remember, guys, when cryptos go up in a bear market, you're gaining leverage on the market. It's reverse leverage almost because, dude, I just made 10 grand. I'm not saying real numbers, but let's say I just made 10 grand. Bitcoin goes to 6K. Whoops. That's a game changer, right? When you could only buy 0.3 Bitcoin for that just 2 months ago. Now you can buy 1.6. Pretty crazy swings that can happen if something has real product market fit.
How do you plan on like taking advantage of that if this is a slow migration down from, let's assume that we do get to say 12K or 10K Bitcoin. Do you right? We have USDC sitting on the side. How, this is 100% selfish type of question, but how do you gauge, like I'm just DCAing with that over time because I don't know.
That's the smarter way.
You know what I mean?
That's the smarter way to do it if you have a good amount of money. But if you have all day long, like, okay, our situations are different. Why? You probably have more responsibilities and you probably have more cash. So those are two factors, right? What am I going to play? I'm going to play that I'm going to pay attention to the chart a lot more than most people because I know I can. And I can't project that information into people's minds. It's just not how it works, dude. When you're watching Richard Hart for 600 days call 85% dip and you watch it all the way, you get a really fine-tuned understanding of what that's going to look like. And I think it's going to look like the majority of that will happen slowly. And then there'll be a Godwick. And then it'll Godwick back up. And then it'll go sideways for 2 weeks. And then there'll be a God buy. And when that God buy happens, and we can look back to the chart from when this happened last time too, because Bitcoin had got this happens before, so it's really, really, really interesting to watch because remember how I just said I'm good at the market because I stare at it all the time because I know I have time. I think someone who also had that reality when they were maybe earlier in their journey was Richard Hart. And when everyone else was staring at other things, big business ventures, I think he was staring at charts for long periods of time. I'm not saying he was trading. I don't know exactly what he was doing. But he understands the chart so well. He understands those resistance points so well because they're not really all about FTX. And it's about real resistance. How much real money can you get out of something before it's totally pinched off, before everyone's out of money? And it's roughly 85% with Bitcoin. And with altcoins, we're talking 95 to 99%, period. Unless there's something going on or there's product market fit out of the wazoo, which we just don't see, frankly.
Yeah, no, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. But you're correct in that if somebody does pay attention to something for a prolonged period of time, you build up an intuition that it's challenging to articulate that to other people because you have 1,000 little nuanced details that you can't just articulate in a 6-minute conversation to somebody else because you've learned that over a period of time that just compounds and compounds.
The entire period of time.
Yes.
So the thing, I don't buy Hex like I do some of the other stuff I look to because I wasn't there when the majority of and I still buy it, but it's not going to be the thing that I'm going to attack personally because I already have stakes. I already have a lot going on in that ecosystem. But new products, I've watched the Hedron chart every single day. To a degree, right? Like I've probably missed a couple of days, but like you can look back. I've watched the Zen chart every single day. I've watched the BNBP chart every single day. I know those charts like the back of my hand. I know how low they can go. And it's stressful because nobody can understand that the first couple buys generally on a price chart is like the resistance forever. Like, so that's like, and I'm not talking about Zen because the distribution, but like on a thing where everything comes out at once, people are going to buy that. They'll never get that rate again. They're probably not going to flip that right away. They might try to flip maybe another pump on that. But just like we saw with the PLSB, the first couple minutes, it's never gone lower than that. It's like $1.90, $2.10 right now. That was like the first couple minutes, right? But then it went all the way to $5. And people probably got wrecked on that, right? Because they were just buying all the way up the top. And now it's back at 2. And that's when someone like me would start to think again about potentially putting another $100 in there or $200. And that would be it, really. And that's kind of how I go through it. I know these charts. I wake up one day, one of them is screaming on the downside. And I say, hey, that's probably one to take advantage of. And then
I think what happened with the PLSB is that, like, if I had chose to be in that project, and if so, here's a tip that you guys can use for liquidity providing. If you're the first person to set up a pool for liquidity providing, you choose the rates, right? So if I am the first person to the marketplace and I'm selling bananas and people want bananas and I'm the first person there to do so, what do you think I'm going to do?
You set the floor price.
I'm going to set the fucking highest price in the world to sell you my shit.
Or make it reasonable so you can make real cash. Like you don't want to make it so on the upside that you can't. Everyone will just be like, "Rah, rah." But
that's literally what took place with PLSB.
I think that takes place with every crypto. I thought that was conservative. I'm glad it didn't pump to $30 because people would have got ruined. I was happy that it only pumped 500%. That's
no. It started at $30.
Oh yeah. Now, how much liquidity was there at that time?
So
that's the problem.
If I'm setting up the first pair, right? Some new token is launching, and I happen to be the first person that's going to set up that pair. You can set the ratio so that I get a high price for my shit as people buy it away from me. Or
what if they set the liquidity right off the jump?
If what?
What if the person that did that set the liquidity right off the jump, and that's kind of just how the chart looked? Because they were, I mean, come on. I don't think the first, and this is just me speculating. I have no clue.
Think about that.
I would think the first person wouldn't the time to make the money was when it goes to $5. Like, I feel like they kind of knew that.
Was it though? I can make 6x that by setting the liquidity.
Yeah, but how much liquidity was there at that time? It was only just a minute.
You think about it from the individual standpoint, right? If I set up the liquidity and if I can set the price at 30, it was 29. It went a little bit over 30.
I have to look about how much money was extracted. I can actually look at that. It's not hard because it's so new. You can just do it.
I sent it to you. The same person who set up the first LP also pulled it an hour later.
Yeah. Oh, they were pulling it back and forth, dude. They were pulling.
No, listen to what Sam's saying.
This is my point. So when I show up to the market, right? There's a giant like it's 96 degrees outside. The beach is there and no vendors are there at all. And nobody has a cooler. And I show up there and I'm the first person there and I have ice cold, refreshing beverages. I'm going to sell them to you for $37 a drink. And then everybody else shows up. So as soon as everybody else shows up, I've just sold all of what I can sell. This is literally what happened.
I got to see how much it was.
He set it up way high. And then he just sells it to everybody. These fucking idiots. I'll sell you the $30.
Yeah, but they're coming out with something else with that. I'm telling you, those guys. I looked through their whole white paper and their whole web page and everything. It's pretty clean. Like I'm interested, but again, I wouldn't spend a lot of money on it. No way.
No, and I'm not saying it's a bad project.
No, but I think the price potential is good. But again, I didn't get in at any weird rate. I got in when it was low as hell. I mean, as low as I thought. As low as I could, right? It wasn't minute 1 or nothing. Like it was like minute 45, and I'm sure it was like $2 or $3 when I first bought it. But then I stopped. I was just like, I want to see. I watched it all the way up, watched it all the way down. Just looked at it. Like I didn't care. Like because I know how those things work, man. Like they have ideas. They want more money. Don't you forget that too. Like these things are not one-trick ponies. Like they have many opportunities. But they maybe happen quick with the meme coins. So that's why I say I might speculate on this, but I probably wouldn't even want Sam to speculate on this as much because it's kind of like not as important for the amount of money that he would want to spend, most likely, in my opinion. Like I have $200, $300 is different.
From the standpoint of like making large returns, right? Like you got these ASIC tokens, right? These ASIC tokens, 100 ASIC tokens gives you 7 of this Pulse Bitcoin, right? So let me pull up my calculator. So you
I
have
love how you remember these numbers.
the ASIC token was selling at about $1.15 the other day, right? So 100 times $1.15 would be about, for $115, you get 7.5 of these Pulse Bitcoin, right? So I'm going to set up the first pool because I understand liquidity and all these other fuckers don't understand liquidity. So I'm going to sell them my 7.5 BTC for $30, right? So I take that 7.5 and I sell it for $30 and I get 225 bucks. So I put in 115. I got a yield of 7.5 Pulse Bitcoin and I've doubled that money, 225. Plus I still have the ASIC tokens, right? Like there was no way it was going to sit there. That's just an opportunistic move for somebody who knows what they're doing to set up a liquidity pool. The first time I will sell you that shit at the highest price because nobody else is doing it yet. It's like you're the first person to the show, right? You have tickets to the hottest concert or game or fight or whatever. You have the tickets in the front row or whatever the case is, and nobody else has tickets. You're the one who controls all those tickets. You will sell that shit for whatever the market will bear. And in this case, he sold it for $30. And
yeah, they do that with the Taylor Swift tickets too. All my cousins and stuff always be talking about Taylor Swift tickets and how someone buys them all up and how they all, like it's kind of, they all do the same thing. It's just like however you can do it legally, right? However you can do it without complete dishonest, like everyone not liking you or whatever, that would be a big one. Like reputation would be a big one in that. $400 in Zen is already $7,093.33. Dr. V-Ray. Wow. Are you buying my bottom calls, bro? Because I'm locked in on that bottom. I bought the first bottom, and I don't think I bought the second one, which was probably like yesterday.
It didn't drop back below that bottom.
Nah, it gets right about there. There was no buyers there. There was there was no buyers there. I can't imagine those guys want to sell. I remember that time. I remember everyone was like, it's going down forever. K4K said you will lose all your money if you get involved in Zen.
So we've had one.
I got one coming out today at 44% as of this morning. I haven't checked the price comparatively, but like I gained 44% of like the $12 or $18 that I spent at the time. So I wish I would have made that one longer personally. But I didn't know at the time. I didn't know what I was getting involved in exactly, but I have mints. Like I just go for $1 billion. I just want $1 billion and then I'll be chilling. Liquid though, or like within my custody.
And I mean, they have like in the pool here, there's 250,000 plus of liquidity for the Zen token here.
And there's like 15 pairs.
Yeah. So that's not, there's a button. The liquidity is way higher than this.
I play on that Zen Hex pair too, because that gets traded real slow. But like this morning, for example,
I think he mentioned across all the pairs, it's like over 1 million.
Yeah, wow. that sounds about right. So, Sam, basically what happens is someone comes in and buys $40,000 worth of Zen USDC, right? And then what doesn't change? The Hex Zen rate doesn't change but in this case, Hex has been trending down. So really, you could get double as much Hex if you waited for a big pump and an asset with low liquidity, and then you swap it to a pair that no one really acts on right away, but there's enough liquidity where you can make a good trade. And then
you're gonna have to explain it a lot slower. You're gonna have to explain it a lot slower so people can get it.
All right, let me explain this because this has been lit for me
in detail. I understand what you said, but it's gonna be valuable for you to retake it again.
So basically, guys, let's say there's 5 pairs for Hex. I'll pull it up.
I can pull it up so you can tell the story. Just
so go ahead and pull up Deck Screener, but don't click on any of the charts. Just type in Zen to the search bar, and then it'll open that up automatically. Just stay on that page. It shows all the pairs.
Okay.
So go to search Zen, and then it'll pop up all the pairs. And so, guys, sometimes what I do is if I woke up in the morning this morning. I didn't do anything with this, but this was a good opportunity. If I was listening to music and doing push-ups, so I didn't do it. But basically, there's a few pairs in the Zen hex realm. You can see that it's about 5 down Zen hex. I think now there's like 1.2 in liquidity in it, but when I was messing with, there was like 5 or 10, right? And maybe there's another one, who knows? But anyway, so Zen would go up, right? My Zen that I got for hardly any money would go up on a morning like this, whatever, 100%. And hex trending down over the last 24 hours, maybe 10%, 12%. And then no one trades that pair yet. So you're really trading in your hex for still cheaper Zen, or you're trading in your Zen for a lot more hex than you would have if you went in from US dollar, USDC, since that would be the first move to generally be made. You can do the same thing with the ETH pairs and the other native pairs if you watch them. It's incredible.
So I'm just going to paraphrase what you're saying here. If you like Hex, or maybe you like Hedron, and you also like Zen, if you're paying attention to these ratios, right, you can see that the price here in the V3, and please, if you're like, hey, add in more detail, like, feel free to interrupt. This is 5 zeros and an 8-9, right? But this is 5 zeros and a 9-2 almost, right? And then here it is 5 zeros and a 9-4. So there is a big difference between the prices on some of these things right here.
And that's a small swing, for example. Like that would be a small swing in an asset like this. Like this morning, you could have caught Zen Hex at like 7.5, but Zen was 9.5. Zen USDC was 9.5. You see what I'm saying, Sam?
Yeah.
So that would have been like 7.5 to 9.5, just because you would be the first person to trade that, because it's not arbed automatically yet, because there is not too much direct trading volume on those two pairs. But there is a lot of liquidity in both assets, so it will AMM even if the rate is.
So somebody could hypothetically, if they had the Zen already, or they could either buy at the lowest rate, or they could go through and sell at the highest rate into the other asset. And especially in this case, if somebody was trying to do that for, say, Hex or something like that. So in this case, they could buy at the cheapest rate between Hex and Zen here at 8.1, and then they could turn around and sell that at the highest rate and convert it to ETH, right? And make the, hey, I think I'm gonna look into Zen for some arbitrage trades later.
Well, you can do this with every asset you own, which is generally cool. But what do better assets have? More pairs, right? So, and better is the wrong word, but more community driven, probably the word. Like these community driven products, I would not advise you to buy anything, because I'm not a financial advisor. So that would be weird of me to do. So what was the question?
Zen arbitrage, you can do it on.
Yeah, so you can do it with any asset, man. ETH, Hex, all these coins have many pairs. Hedron has enough pairs. Even Icosa has enough pairs. And even if you don't, you can AMM bot. Like it'll AMM through if there's liquidity in both assets. And I don't really know I need to learn more about how that works, like at the nuts and bolts level. But I've noticed that, like, if there's not a pair, you can still trade within whatever asset. It'll just arb it for you. But when there is a pair set up and it's very light and there's not a lot of trading action, it actually stops the AMM, so you can trade through that pair. It's very interesting.
So we can probably actually cover how that works on Uniswap. They have some.
Oh, dude, pull up the V3 charts for these.
Oh yeah. So I'll pull up the charts in a second.
Do whatever you want, but
no, I'll pull them up in a second. Yeah, that's a good idea. So on like when you place a trade between any two pairs, like GRC was saying, if you go from, say, Zen to USDC, but like there's not necessarily enough liquidity there, or the price, or in terms of the number of tokens you're going to get is too much impacted, there's something that will automatically route it to the best pair. But remember, then it has to go through multiple other pairs to do that.
But I don't think it does that if there actually is a pair.
I think
if you click through, like the Zen Hex pairs, I'm telling you, there's like 20 trades a day on that pair. So, but there is, somebody put liquidity in there, and they're not really well, they got eaten out of it a lot. But that, if you're thinking about Uniswap liquidity providing too, I mean, there's options with Zen that are crazy. because you can assume the price action of Zen will be wild, but I mean, it is predictable to a degree. But anyway, the point was, I think it actually stops because, dude, I've been doing this and I've been checking the rate against the deck screener. I've been making sure, like, I'm not just doing it and like, oh yeah, I got the rate because it says it on the screen. I've been looking, like, I've been double checking, and I won't do it because sometimes I do run into a little thing where I'm like, I don't think these rates are 100% the same, so I'll just back off. But sometimes it's a dead nuts, and I'm like, yes, perfect. And I'll do a little trade for 6,500 hex and maybe stake that, or maybe like, but it's like I just earned that for free because the ratio just moved way too far in the other direction. But that only happens with good assets. I'm telling you. Yes, of course, stuff can move against other assets, but they will correct in 2 seconds if they're not legit in some way, shape, or form. Community, product market fit, founder, something.
Yes, and I think you're correct on that. I haven't read through this article from Uniswap about their auto routing, but if there's liquidity, we can also get into this.
And I could be wrong on this too. Like this is
no, but I think you might be right on this.
Yeah,
liquidity, right? Like if there's enough slices of pizza for you to pull 2 or 3 slices of pizza without having an issue, yeah, you'll be able to pull
within your slippage range, probably.
Yeah, but if slippage is higher because there's only 6 pieces of pizza and you want 9 pieces of pizza, then it's going to go through because that.
But you maybe can adjust the slippage and it'll still go through. Like if you still get 10% slippage on some of those trades, it's still the swing of a lifetime.
I have a theory on this. Like, you know how we like the sovereignty of crypto, and I think I brought this up 1 or 2 other times, where you have the autonomy, right? It's your own money. You have control over it. Nobody can take that money from you unless you decide to keep it on a centralized exchange. Well, when you do that, I think that over time, right? So say in the future, they try to tell you can't own Hex or you can't own these things. Well, I think we should take these pairs and tie them together between the ones that support the principles of crypto, right? Things like Hex and Zen, say Zen and Hedron, liquidity, like the one on like the liquid loans, I always say the name wrong. All the ones that are immutable code, that don't have a backdoor in there, that allow you to take control. There's no like founders involved in them in certain terms of like they can F shit up. All of the good crypto should come together and people should be creating pairs in these. And let me get to why we should create pairs in these. If you look back, most crypto groups, most individual like crypto is tribalist. We've had this conversation many times, right? So how do you, I was thinking about this, how do you break down the tribalism? Because tribalism is a barrier to growth. Like you and I both know that if you and I both work together, we can accomplish more together than we would individually.
Yeah, but that was only if you were being transparent and I was being transparent, right? Like, so people don't like getting questioned, but people do like getting questioned when they are being transparent. Like I love being questioned about all my little secrets because I always said them anyway. And people are like, "Oh my God, you said he was on testosterone." Oh my God.
So what happens when you bring together the best cryptos, right? The ones that where there is mutable code, where shit can't be changed, right? And there's no like all these other risks associated with it of centralization in some way.
And you can stake and claim and never have it go into your wallet too. Stuff like that. Really good, innovative stuff here.
And there's these projects that we don't know about. Like Cult is a project that I like, right? There's other projects out there that there's like one thing about Cult I don't like, but
the Drip Network I've been still reading about in a way. I know that we went through it once, but I think there is some stuff over there that's going on, and there's a lot of stuff, man.
But tying all these together brings together the people that understand what crypto is actually about in the decentralized.
Educates faster.
And then you reduce the tribalism, right? Yeah. Because you're tied together in the liquidity, right? So then if like USDC says that they're going to censor anybody who's owned Hex or any other asset, right? Then you can get around this because all of the great assets are all tied together already, right? And this could reduce the tribalism. And imagine that conglomerate of smart, intelligent people that understand the principles of crypto, right? And understand that all coming together, how much faster things we could impact in the world instead of being tribalism and this person, like it's a bickering back and forth, working together to create something much, much bigger.
Like I could have tried to trade that Hex Zen like for 2 more weeks before I told anyone that it's a good pair that maybe I used, or I could just teach everyone faster and get this shit over with. I'm not super worried about making a couple $100, guys, like on a trade. I'll do it if it's staring me in the face. But we need more crypto in our decentralized wallets over a long period of time. That's kind of the goal. But you have to pick the right cryptos. Like I've made more money with just about everything I've done in the bull run than Hex in general. I really hadn't made much on Hex. You know, Hex has been down for 500 days straight, but that doesn't take away from what Richard created. That's just a product in a direct calculation of the amount of liquidity it has and the buyers and sellers. Right. And what did Richard teach us about these altcoin dips, about all this stuff? He covered the P's and Q's of it. And I don't even think he knew if it was going to dump yet. Like $10 million liquidity ain't that much. Right. So like things could change. But in this case, I think it's important to understand there's opportunities all over the place. But they all rhyme. They all rhyme, don't they, Sam? Like they all have similar. Like what do we? I respect Jack. I respect Jacob from BMBP. I respect Richard. I respect Alex from Hedron. I think he's a great engineer. I think he has a great mind. Like, so it's not a secret. You think it's a secret. You think it's all a guessing game, but you betting on the right horse has a lot to do with what the horse be doing.
Yes, correct. I'm actually pulling up the Hex pairs here to take a look at the liquidity.
Yeah, I'd love to look at the Hex USDC liquidity. That would be super interesting to me because things have changed, Sam, slowly. And I want you to kind of look. This is pretty healthy as far as losing some percentages on the price chart, right? It looks pretty like, okay, it got eaten up, but it did what it was supposed to do. There definitely was some fresh sellers in there, right, Sam? Like some guys that wanted out that maybe didn't buy back right away. What do you see from this chart? We've gone from 3 cents, which we were at for such a significant amount of time, Sam, a super significant amount of time, like way, like that 3 cent range is huge now. So what do you think?
We're like 2.7 now, right? For Hex, like 2.7 cents. And you get to see that this has changed. This is also one of the things that I look at in terms of liquidity is there's 2 things that are going to affect liquidity, the size of the liquidity in bear markets and bull markets. When the price comes down, right, of tokens in a pair, well, what does that naturally do to the TLV? It drops it, right? Like if you have these tokens, this is Hex and USDC, but what if it was Hex and Ethereum, right? And both of them
going down at the same time.
They'd be going down the same exact time, which means the liquidity is also drying up at the same time. And then on top of that, so that's factor 1. Now, factor 2 is that during those times, people like to pull their liquidity at the same time. So you have this drying up of liquidity like very, very quickly. It's interesting. I've been watching it play out with Hedron, and it's interesting to see because it's something that look people don't.
What are you seeing over there? What have you seen about the liquidity over there that you can give us some insight on? I haven't watched that too tight, the liquidity over there. And what kind of differences do you see between the Hex liquidity and the Hedron liquidity? And do they rhyme in any way as well? Like, are there similar moves that are being made? Maybe a similar style?
The Hex pair right here on Ethereum that I noticed was that like this doesn't look even, does it? Right? Like there's a lot more to this side of it here. And then over here, there's nothing. There's no blue over here. Well, this pool is around $2 million of USD value of the tokens inside of it. That's Hex and Ethereum. Well, if you look at this is actually, and I looked at Dex Screener to confirm this is about 75% of Hex right here that's just waiting to be sold. So this like over here is, think of like this is the ocean, right? And you're trying to move, the pink line is trying to move through the ocean, right? Well, when the ocean's the deepest, it's going to move the slowest, right? When it's the shallowest over here, it's going to move the quickest because that's almost like you're on the beach.
He's going to turn this into the reform for the ice caps melting soon, guys. So if you like that kind of no, I'm just kidding. What if you played it all into that? No, but keep going. I totally agree with what you're saying. And if anyone has questions about these things, people love when we talk about this, Sam. And I'm sorry for interrupting. So please, if you have questions, drop them below. But I'm just going to let you go. And I'm sorry for interrupting. I had to make some sort of liberal joke.
The way that it's structured, and we don't know if this is one player or like multiple players, but the amount of liquidity of hex that's just waiting to be sold is a lot. Like a lot of people are waiting to sell hex into Ethereum in this pool here, right? And it doesn't. And if you look at the pool for Hedron, it doesn't look the same as this one. This is a boatload of people that are trying to sell their hex, right? The price through here is going to move really slow because there's a boatload of hex waiting to be sold. If price comes down to this bottom edge here, there will be people that are adjusting their positions, right? And then it will probably like continue to adjust because then it's in their self-interest to adjust the position because then they earn more fees here. But
or to protect from downside if they want to tighten the liquidity so much that a dude with $1 million couldn't sell even. That is the tactic that I see constantly used. Maybe not in assets with this much liquidity. Like they'll probably wait for that anything bad to happen for that. But with new assets, you see it almost on repeat all the time. It's like they pull it and then they put it. And then people are like, why can't I sell slippage? And it's like, wait 20 minutes, dude. And boom. And it's weird, Sam. And it's cool. And it's interesting. And it's a real open market. But it also can show the phonies really quick. Who are the phonies? The guys that don't protect the asset, the guys that don't provide liquidity in a good range, the guys that don't know anything about what they're doing. And that can be weird. Like if you don't know what you're doing and you're providing liquidity, you're going to have a weird situation. It could be upside weird, could be downside weird, but it's weird.
Now look at this. Look at this pool here. How this is not dispersed. This is the Hedron and USDC pair. There's $1.6 million.
And what does that show you in comparison? Just for the people watching, like you see it quick. We all see it. I saw the big moat in the other pair compared to this one. What does that show you? Is it a little bit of newer, immature asset, or is it people trying to get out of this thing? Sam, tell me what's up with. What do you think?
The more sloppy the curve looks, like if it just looks like a normal distribution, then to me that it shows more maturity in the liquidity. And when you think about maturity in the liquidity, you're like, is that a good thing or not, right? Well, maturity in the liquidity, if it looks like a normal distribution, you may earn less fees than if you have something that's immature in liquidity and there's not enough people paying attention to it yet. So you don't get that nice bell curve. In this case here, you don't get that nice bell curve, right? And if you do the math on this, right? So we have $6,500 of fees earned in a 24-hour period. So let's take 6,500 times 30 divided by, so that's 195,000 divided by 1.46 million. That's 13% in a month for this pool as an aggregate. There's people in this pool who are earning less than 13%, right? Because they spread out over the entire range. But there's also
probably some people earning way more.
Yes, like me, right? Like on this,
right? But then like maybe some guys that are earning like way more. You know, I always think like, guys, these transactions are costly. People earn a lot of money off these things. If you started the asset or you own a lot of the circulating supply, you by in turn will earn a lot of money on an asset with product market fit that has trading volume.
Like, look at this. This is TLV. This is $150,000. 150 million. I'm sorry, $150 million of liquidity in the USDC ETH pair here.
That seems thin, man. That feels thin for what SBF be playing, throwing or dropping. So hopefully he don't find our pools. Although these are the most liquid pools in the world for crypto. So if you don't think that bleeds out through these, you'd be wrong.
Yes, I coach a
Except
pair here.
Bitcoin doesn't trade on chain ever.
Yeah, very rude. Unless it's wrapped Bitcoin, it's not going to take place. Okay, so this is if you're thinking about a pair to like check out for fees, one, like if you look at the number of fees over the last 24 hours and then you look at the pool size and you were like, okay, how much am I going to contribute to the TLB, right? If you're going to put in 20 grand and then this is like 200 grand, right? Then you're like, I'm going to represent, 1/20th or whatever, 1/10 or something of the total pool size here. So then you can be like, okay, I would get 10% of this if I was distributed over the entire curve like these people here. But you can make your position far more concentrated to earn higher returns on these things. I love liquidity, and we actually have a change in an update. I think we were going to get into this too at what the privacy update with.
Yeah, we'll read it. I have it right here, so I can pull it up, but I'll drop it in the private. And if Bullish wants to pull it up, if he's there, we've kind of just been talking, so I don't know if he's sitting right there. But there's the article for that, and I will pull it up. I like when Bullish has the little lady read it for us. That's kind of my cue for Bullish to have the little lady, but I am not afraid to read. New privacy policy says it collects data tied to user wallets, Sam. And I'm just going to give you the first paragraph to read just because I'm just looking at something somebody sent me that I was trying to read. But let me read the quick takes, and then once it gets to the first paragraph, I'll let you read for a second. I want you to make sure this isn't anything big because I read through this once and none of my flags went off. But it was interesting because they talk about the Tornado Cash dude being locked up. Quick take, Uniswap has released a new privacy policy according to its official website. It states that the exchange collects on-chain data on users' crypto wallets. Sam, you want to read this portion? And I can zoom it in if you need me to.
Yeah, you want to zoom in a little bit just so it'd probably be better for users or people who are listening. Okay, there we go, perfect. Uniswap, the largest Ethereum decentralized exchange, published a new privacy policy to provide transparency on the data it collects. The privacy policy states that the DEX collects certain on-chain and off-chain data connected to users' wallets. Right? They're moving in the wrong way, right? In my opinion, they clarified that publicly available on-chain data is analyzed to make informed decisions. As far as off-chain data goes, Uniswap claimed it does not gather sensitive personal data like names, emails, or IP addresses. Do you trust them? I don't know. How other off-chain web identifiers related to users' activity on front-end websites are still scraped, the exchange noted. Our first priority is to protect our user data and privacy, so don't fucking collect it, right? Like, you don't need to protect it if you don't collect it. Very, very simple. We're trying to prioritize to protect you, GRC. Well, then don't collect my shit, bro. Like, it's really, really simple. But we do want to make data-driven decisions that improve user experience. That includes public on-chain data and limited off-chain data, like device type. Like what type of device are you using? Android? You're using iPhone? And the browser version, Chrome, like what Brave, any of the other ones out there. The privacy policy notes that decentralized exchange and other third-party service providers may gather data related to users' mobile device ID, cookies information from local storage, operating system device, or browser language. Such information can be used to remember which tokens users have imported, as well as learn their preferences and interactions, Uniswap said. Don't like this. Furthermore, the decentralized exchange confirmed that it screens users' wallets with the help of certain blockchain analytics providers to help identify illicit activity. This comes a few months after the exchange working with blockchain analytics firm TRM. I think one of those videos we watched with like the Indian dude the other day was talking about TRM as like blocked 253 crypto addresses tied to mixing service Tornado Cash. No, you're good.
Yeah, I'll read. So the Tornado Cash dude's still locked up, by the way. He's in jail. When you connect your non-custodial blockchain wallet to the services, we collect and log your publicly available blockchain address to learn more about your use of the service and to screen your wallet for any prior illicit activity. Uniswap is the highest volume decentralized exchange on the Ethereum blockchain. So far in November, Uniswap has accounted for roughly 60% of Ethereum's on-chain volume, according to data from the block. Uniswap Labs, the developer of Uniswap, raised $165 million in a Series B round at a $1.6 billion valuation last month.
What do you think? What do you think about?
It seems like I already thought they were doing that.
Yeah,
I just assume the worst. I'm just like, I guess they do that. They just do whatever they want. So I hope they don't like delist shit and like say things that are illegal that are not illegal. That would be trouble for my freedom.
But don't you think that's like the first step in this process of what they're doing?
I think it's the first step in making other alternatives better.
True. I like it. True.
Uniswap's king until they're
not.
Do whatever they're doing. If Pulse X doesn't watch all my shit, I like that better.
I agree. And
I think of the future. Like, I'm not a big like, oh, Pulse Chain's never coming out. Oh, this shit's never happening. I don't care about all that. This shit's probably gonna happen, but there will be other options if it doesn't. And I'm gonna use them. Like, I don't need to, whatever. Like, it's not like, oh, I didn't sacrifice so much in Pulse Chain that my whole life depends on it, which is critical.
I would like a DEX that had privacy in the sense that, like, when you go to swap, nobody could see what you swapped into. That I think that a DEX like that would be a DEX on steroids. Like, that would be amazing to have a DEX where nobody could see the other side of what you're swapping into. I think that would be
What
awesome.
if the fees were reasonable?
For
what the alternative that we're using? Like, what if the fees were reasonable, man? Like, Ethereum is top dog and they know it, and they're going to now do probably the whole SBF, like maybe not as corrupt, but they're going to be the next on the block to have some sway within the political environment. And I'm sure they're going to get pleb. I hope not, I hope not. I think these guys are smart, but I don't necessarily think they're bulletproof, like when it comes to the government and their greed and all that stuff. And with Ethereum, there's a lot of open-ended action. That's kind of why I like Hex. And that's kind of why I like a lot of certain things. I like Ethereum too, because it's the top dog. But as far as like future speculation, I wouldn't be surprised if there were some things that go on with Ethereum that wouldn't make us too happy,
with the route that they've been going. And then you see this with Uniswap, and that's not like,
until election's over, they won't stop. It won't. None of this shit will stop.
It's going to continue. Like, it's always the innovative new player that comes in, and it's great, and it's better than everybody else, right? And then they inevitably change as time goes on because they want to protect instead of innovate. They want to like control instead of innovate to control, because you can innovate through force or you can innovate through leading, right? I can innovate through putting a gun to your head and telling you what to do, or I can lead through example and showing you a better way of accomplishing things in life, right? And both work, but like when a player is so much better, like I think this is going to happen to Tesla. You watched it happen to Facebook. You watched it happen with every other large company. You watched it happen with Google, right? I think that this is probably just another step in Uniswap, right?
But what if all the other competition just follows suit, right? Like, what if Pulse Chain doesn't like Zen, for example, and then they're just like, nope, no on that, right? And then we have other problems that are just as directly proportional. Maybe not the exact same problem. Sorry, cleaning lady, but maybe not the same problem. But it's funny that you said it's all about cleaning house, and my cleaning lady just turned the vacuum on. That's I'm like, what? But anyway, that's what I think. think it's bad, and I think all humans that have this, it takes a great human to make decisions that are for the better of the people, not for the mainly better of themselves. And I'm not 100% sure we have those people here yet, but I'm not 100% sure we don't. Right? I can't tell you what these men are all about, so I can only speculate. Some people hate Jack. We talked to a dude earlier who hates Jack, thinks he's an idiot. I think Jack's smart as shit, and I think Jack's made something that's truly innovative and cool. And so, but that's just we're not gonna switch it. No, it ain't my girlfriend. It's my cleaner lady. You trust me that?
If they try to use this to, because some of the arguments against Uniswap that I've seen is that Uniswap, you can have anything listed, right? So you can list a scam token on there, right? But if they try to control the marketplace that way, or they try to delist something, that is really, really dangerous territory. And that is where I would make, like, it makes sense to switch to another provider to support them and talk about another player to try to get people away from somebody who's trying to control the market like that. That's what's happened in Legacy. That's what's happened in literally every single market that has ever existed in the entire planet. Is somebody's going to gain power, and then they're going to try to control the market. And they're going to say it's for the best interest of the fuckers coming to the market. Bullshit. The best interest of what's happening, the players that are coming to the market, is having a free market, period, where everybody can participate in it, period. Because then you get education, right? You don't get BS. You don't get shit that naive idiots out there, because they understand it's the free market. If you don't pay attention, you're going to get your throat slit, right? Like, you have to pay attention in a free market, because otherwise people are going to take advantage of you, right? That's why
some people don't think they're going to take advantage of you when they come out the ideas, guys. I can promise you right now, if I had a crypto token with $100 million in it, I probably wouldn't take advantage of you. But I could not tell you in 5 years, if I was worth $1 billion and I had something that was 3 years old, that I would not take advantage of you. And I promise you, like, yes, I'm a human being, and I'm an honest human being. Things change for people. I might not be as public one day. I might make trades that kind of, I wouldn't want everyone else to make, potentially. I might do things like that. But when I'm projecting my voice on the internet and speaking about freedom and honesty and non-bias, I'm going to do exactly that until that time is up. And Richard did that time. Like, let's be real. He did 6 years of market absolute mayhem for me. And now his time is to business. He needs to get bigger. He needs to take over. And he's going to do what's his in best interest. And he probably should. But you know that there's collateral damage there if used improperly.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it changes, man. Like, I could see you in a bunch of years saying, I don't care about that. Those people, like, because you can only think about the things you could think about depending on what you're doing. We happen to be doing non-biased news on cryptocurrency on the internet. And Richard literally did that for a long time. But I'm not going to say in 5 years, if Sam hadn't been on the internet, I would tell you, I don't know what he's doing. I'm not going to speculate on whether he's getting a good deal or a bad deal. I don't know what he's doing. But I can assume, depending on how things go, like, it just depends. Like, but product market fit is always at the heart of it. It's always like, if you have a product with some sort of product market fit, it will have users. But if that turns out not to be real product market fit, not what the users want, they will abandon it. And you can only manipulate things for so long, because sellers, buyers, you know how it goes. But anyway, Sam, we're out of time.
It has been a good show. Hope you guys are enjoying these slightly abridged shows that we've been having. We've been enjoying them. So I hope you are. We're just trying to fill them with as much information and value as possible during them. If you did enjoy the show and you have any other friends in crypto, there's a little arrow down there. Just press that arrow. Think of that person, share it with them so you can provide more value to the friends in your network, so you can build a closer relationship with those people, and we can spread the good information out there. If you'd like to support in other ways, there's Twitter down below, there's Instagram down below, there's the cast. So if you go to CIMT, CITMcast.com. It has all the podcasts over there. So if you want to listen to it on a podcast while you're driving or doing something else, you can check out the podcast, leave us a review. It's tremendously helpful. And I think we're just going to take us out of here with some.
I'm trying to get on with Jack at some point today. I was trying to get him on this morning. It might be a Twitter space. It might be a YouTube stream, but I want to talk about Zen. I want to talk about some of the game theory there. And he's open enough to talk about everything. So I like to get to talk to him. So we'll be waiting on that, Sam. And let's get it.
Let's get it. DeFi
Good
proof.
morning. DeFi proof, guys. We're going to be going hard. We like Thanksgiving's coming up, guys. Make sure you don't ditch out on your family. It's important to see your family, even if it's uncomfortable, guys. Have a good one.
You already know what time it is. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. 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 Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Smoking no blunt on my way to the gym. 11 a.m. I'm already tuned in. Got me some hacks and I'm making a stake. Got me some hedron, I'm making it rain. Play me some maxi and that's just in case. Gym ready, set me to show you the way.